So there's our W carved in. Now we're going to begin scooping out the parts above the W. So I'm going to take something a little more rounded, like maybe that, or maybe something else that would work nicely would be the sharp end of a wax spatula. Or maybe something like that might also work, but that's a little bit on the fat side. I think I'll take the sharp end of a wax spatula. I think that would do a nice job for me. So what I'm trying to do is get these scooped out areas right here and here and here. So I'm just going to the part just above the W. Not liking that quite so well. I think I'll switch over to something a little more rounded. So there's one. Here's your second one. And here's our third one. Go back and delineate the borders of my anatomy again. And there was that small fourth one right up here. We'll work on that one just a little bit too. Something else that we didn't suggest to you to have that might be helpful is an old toothbrush. Sometimes when you're trying, especially in the anatomy, when you're trying to see if you carved what you wanted, taking an old toothbrush and rubbing the surface will kind of bring out, gets rid of some of the bigger scratches so you can see where you're at. Working now with the sharp end of a clear discoid, just delineating the lines that I've created. Okay, you're pretty much done with your anatomy. Your next step is the polish. If you've got big scratches in your wax, you're really wise to just pick up a knife or another instrument and scrape them out slowly. If you've got it fairly smooth, then you can move on to a nylon. I usually like to take a nylon, stretch it tightly over my finger like this, and then just begin rubbing. I don't just rub anywhere, I try to follow the surfaces that I've created. If you just rub helter-skelter, you're going to end up getting rid of some of the details that you tried to create. Would you mind giving me that torch, and I'll do a flame polish here in just a minute. So you can see how the cemento-enamel junction is beginning to smooth and transition as I rub it with that nylon. It's just taking the edge away. And we'll rub the root too. Get it nice and smooth. So nylons are good at getting away small and relatively small cracks. If you rub too hard, you're going to lose that facial anatomy that you formed. So don't go crazy with a nylon. Thank you very much. It's a good time to take your finger and just rub right through those grooves you formed on the roots. Try to smooth them out so there's no scratches, no roughness. Again, work through your anatomy. One of the hardest things to polish is the anatomy, the deeper anatomy, like the lingual anatomy, because your finger's too fat to get in there. So you just do the best you can. Sometimes you have to take a small instrument and just rub the anatomy smooth. Whatever works best for you. you can get a polish that's as far as you have to go by simply rubbing with a nylon. And that's where probably the majority of students choose to stop, because they don't want to take the risks involved in doing a flame polish. Personally, I like to do a flame polish because I think it adds to the realism of the tooth. So we'll show you how to do it, but you're certainly not required to do that. Okay, so that's about what you can expect from nylon polishing. Kind of a matte finish, but fairly smooth. There's our anatomy. One of the nice things is that as you polish, the anatomy will start to come out and become more visible as the scratches, the distracting scratches, become less there. Okay, here's what you're going to do. If you are going to choose to flame polish, you're going to use a needle type heat source. So you want like a needle flame. I don't know if you can see that. And you're going to use that like a brush. The goal in flame polishing is to melt the surface of the wax without getting into the deeper interior. So I usually do the crown and the root separately. I'm just going to pass it across like a brush. You'll see how the polish now becomes quite a bit shinier. It's a very quick motion, just once over, basically. That pretty much finished my polish of the root of the crown. Blow it until it's cool before you grab it, otherwise you're going to put fingerprints in there. And now we're going to go down and do the polish of the root. Again, just a needle-like flame, quickly passing across the surface. And there's your final product, ready to be signed off by your teaching assistants or your teacher. So the difference between a flame polish and a nylon polish is the level of gloss. Like I said, you don't have to flame polish it, but it does do some interesting things. If you do flame polish, don't dwell, because if you do, you dwell too long with the flame, pretty much all your details will be lost. Get an idea of how deep that cement enamel junction is. It's certainly visible, but it's no big crevice like some people seem to like to carve. You should have a signature for your measurements, a signature for your outlines, and a third signature for your anatomy and polish. When you have those three signatures, you can turn your paper in, and assuming you've passed off our criteria, you'll get 100% on this project. Okay, have at it.